We might soon have two different COVID-19 shots after the Moderna vaccine won the backing of FDA advisors. Joining me now from Baltimore is Carrie Altoff, Associate Professor of Epidemiology at the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. Carrie, thanks for being here. It's good to see you. We may soon see the Moderna vaccine being administered, but how soon?
So I think we'll hear from the FDA either today or sometime over the weekend. The hearings went very well yesterday, very thoughtful, and Moderna was on it. They had responses to really critical questions, and it was almost that it got so big in thinking about what we could learn next that one of the committee members said, "Okay, wait a minute. We've got to remember we have one question to focus on right now, but." I think it really shows that we're ready to move forward with additional important questions. Ranking right up there at the top, I think, are two questions. Number one, durability. How long does this protection last from the vaccine? And number two, is this vaccine actually able to stop transmission and infection, not just serious illness?
Carrie, are we going to see hospitals have access to, at least in the beginning, to two different vaccines? Like, will they have the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine and also have the Moderna vaccine in the same facilities?
It's very possible, and I think a lot of hospitals are very well prepared for that. And so I think that the idea here is that, we need to get as much vaccine out as quickly as we can, because of course we have more people who need the vaccine now than we have vaccine.
Yeah, the reason I ask that question is because I do wonder what happens if there are two different types of vaccines in the same facility. What happens if somebody comes in for their follow-up shot and they had the Pfizer vaccine first? Potentially they could get the Moderna vaccine second accidentally, right?
I think, of course, any of those types of scenarios are possible, but I will say one of the most important parts of this vaccine distribution is the tracking. First of all, to make sure that people get that second dose, and a part of that will be which vaccine are they getting the second dose of? Because right now, no one's recommending mixing. So Pfizer, or Moderna, but not Pfizer, Moderna, or Moderna, Pfizer.
You were on Bloomberg Radio with me yesterday, and one element of that conversation that I really enjoyed was just hearing contextually about where vaccine development in 2020 falls into how you've studied it throughout your entire career. Just how big of a deal is it that we're seeing potentially two vaccines in the same year that we basically learned about this novel coronavirus?
The speed at which we have been able to put these vaccines together is really remarkable, and to have two coming out and more in the pipeline. I mean, this is the response that we need in a pandemic setting. So I think we can be really proud that this was the type of response that was given. But I think the thing that we just have to remember here is that all of this development is standing on the shoulders of decades and decades of research and understanding. I mean, this stuff doesn't just come out of the blue, one day and all of a sudden we have these vaccines. I mean, one of the things that came out yesterday in the hearings with Moderna was the fact that Moderna has tested other similar vaccines, different agents, similar technology, in phase 1 and phase 2 trials that have enrolled up to 17,000 people. So I think it's really important to recognize that this speed is amazing. What we've done here is truly scientific history, but it has come on the shoulders of giants.
Earlier today, Carrie, we saw that Vice President Mike Pence received the COVID-19 vaccine at the White House. How important, there's an image of him just in the last hour getting it. How important is it for Americans to see leaders like the Vice President get this shot live?
You know what? Absolutely, leadership matters. We know that. It is important for our leaders to be vaccinated and to do this and show other people. It's also very important that the healthcare workers and other folks who are getting the vaccine right now share that with their family and friends. I was thrilled yesterday that I saw so many of my friends who are on the front lines. They're posting their pictures, their selfies as they're getting injected. And you know what? It does show the excitement of this. It also shows the trust that a lot of our healthcare workers have in the development process of this vaccine. And, I trust it. My husband is lucky enough to be on the schedule today to be vaccinated as a frontline worker. So very exciting.
What are his thoughts about it? I mean, and what are your thoughts about it? Being in the immediate vicinity of him, what's it like to have a family member that's going to get this vaccine?
I'm thrilled. I literally have slept better this week than I have for months and months because, of course,
Wow.
we have a family to take care of, like many other healthcare workers, and it's this constant battle of thinking through, okay, if someone gets sick, what is our plan here? How do we do this? I will say the hospitals have done a tremendous job ensuring the health of their healthcare staff with securing PPE and practicing even social distancing in the hospital when they can. There have been so many things in place. Again, this is just another tool here, but it's an important tool. And I think, showing people far and wide that this is something healthcare workers are getting on board with so that they can help protect our loved ones if any of our loved ones get sick. It's so important.
I want to end talking about Moderna and Moderna's study because this is actually getting a little bit of controversy. The company says that it will offer the vaccine to people here in the U.S. Who got the placebo in the study. As an epidemiologist, explain why that's kind of a controversial thing to do, because it sort of takes away the population that they can compare the people who got the vaccine to initially in the study, right?
That's right. The randomized control trial, one of its major strengths is that you have a control group. You have a group of individuals that, if everyone's been appropriately randomized, should look very similar to the group that got the vaccine. So this control group is really, really important. And one of the things that they're discussing right now through these FDA hearings is, what do you do when the control group participants say, I want the vaccine, or you know what, I'm going to drop out because I'm a healthcare worker and I can get it. I can get the vaccine otherwise. So it's this balance. We want to be able, and the FDA made this clear, they want to be able to follow a clean control group of individuals who have been given the placebo for as long as possible, because those longer term effects of this vaccination are also very important. But they do have to balance this with just what the participants are going to do. And there were some ideas about, okay, we're going to potentially switch everybody. That was a recommendation by Dr. Steve Goodman of Stanford during both the first hearing for Pfizer and the second hearing for Moderna. And then there was some pushback on the feasibility of that. Can we really do this? And then the second idea that Moderna came up with was, you know what, if people in the placebo group want the vaccine, we will offer it to them. They have not been exactly clear as to when, if it will be something along the lines of, we will offer it to them when they could potentially access it locally. So they're not giving it to them before that individual could get it in their local area.
Dr. Carrie Altuff, it is always great to talk to you, Doctor. Thank you for taking the time, and best of luck to your family as your husband gets the vaccine today. We should note that the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health is supported by Michael R. Bloomberg, founder of Bloomberg LP and Bloomberg Philanthropies.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quick Take now for insight in an instant.